It's a phenomenal platform, and it gives writers creative freedom. And writers write. They don't necessarily have to write a book in order to have a Substack. In fact, Jane Fonda just launched a Substack today, which will focus on wellness, which is something that's important to her now that she's in her 80s. But basically, it's a phenomenal platform for just sharing ideas quickly, and also having people subscribe at a kind of nominal rate that is affordable. Like I think it's like $60 a year. And Dave Barry is another one who has a Substack where he has like thousands of subscribers. And basically, he's just telling you his thoughts about something every week, and people really enjoy it. But then there,
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, Christina, but I spoke to Dave about his Substack.
uh huh,
He said he's never had more fun writing than on.
because it's a blast because
Well, it's a
he's not
blessing. He
edited.
doesn't have an editor,
Uh
on
huh,
his shoulder.
that's
He
it.
doesn't have a timeline. He can literally write whatever he wants to write.
Whatever he wants, and
And he's
short
really,
and
and he
quick.
also, it's a direct connection with your readers. So, it's like a social media platform where you can directly interact. And it's no longer just people writing essays. You can put video on it.
Well,
They've done a
yeah,
brilliant job of
amazing.
creating a
Like
new,
Heather Cox Richardson, for example. She's another example. She's on Substack, and every day she delivers her letters from an American, and she has thousands of subscribers that help her continue writing this stuff. But then there's also Suleika Jaoud, who is someone who published a book about journaling, and she does like a workshop where you have an actual membership that you sign up for, and she sends writing prompts every day. So there are different services that you can sign up for through Substack, but I just think I love that platform.
My comment on the Substack environment is, in some respects, in a beautiful way, it's a open, transparent, beautiful field upon which these artists, these writers, can express themselves openly and compete freely. I mean, Mitchell referenced without an editor in the way, without a masthead in the way. These writers can compete with their ideas and their words for attention. I mean, in the best sense, for attention. If they have something important to say, there's nobody in the way of the world embracing those ideas and voting ultimately, as people do now in a digital world, voting with their feet. And I would characterize what Barry Weiss did on the Free Press, and obviously the arc of her evolution is quite extraordinary. Is she captured an idea or the framing of an idea? I don't know where you'd place her exactly. Center right-ish, center left-ish some days, but she is expressing views in a way that sort of caught fire. And the CBS thing is much more complex that it's not for me to comment on. But she had an idea, and it was in the open place of ideas and competition, and people again voted with their feet. And it's great to see people vote with their feet for people that we love, like Dave Barry, and see how that happens and unfolds as well. But it's very exciting because
Yeah,
it's not sort of institutionally bound. There's a freedom
that,
about it that's very
that's
exciting.
that's exactly
my
right.
only limitation is that even though it's only $5 a month for many of these people, if you have 50 of them, it adds up very
Well,
quickly if you want to follow a whole bunch of different
well,
people.
Mitch, I will interrupt you to say that I won't say who it was. I canceled someone yesterday, even though it was only $5 a month. I went to cancellation. I didn't even know what I was paying. And I saw $5 and I thought to myself, is it really worth it? And I said, I'm going to have the discipline. I
Yeah,
love this person's work. I found myself every day clicking through it
yeah.
for like months. And I said, I'm just going to show like a tiny bit of discipline here and
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
cancel and cancel this one.
Well, I have a problem where, it's I guess the Jewish guilt problem where I'm
Yeah.
afraid I'm going to offend somebody
No.
if I cancel it until I look and I see that they've got like 500,000 followers. And the last thing anyone's going to look at is whether or not I've canceled or not. So,
Well,
I
the
Right.
mean,
good news is that it means that people still read.
They
You
read
know,
in this
Oh,
format also because yes, they do. They
oh,
do
people are
very,
reading.
very
People are
much
still
read.
reading.
They do read a
The other thing
lot.
that's happening, which I really love, is younger people are coming to all of this. And the beauty, and I'm hoping that we'll see it in the series, which we should, that there's been a sea change in the bookstore, and the sea change is a generational sea change. We are seeing more young people come into the bookstore than I ever remember, even when I was young. There are days that I walk in, we might have 100 people browsing in the cafe, in which I'm the oldest person in the entire bookstore. It's a little unnerving, to be honest, but I really embrace it because you begin to understand that this generational sea change is really good, that they've chosen, as Jonathan says, with their feet to go to an independent bookstore. And and on a Monday, which is a little chilly, me, a chilly Miami Monday, all these young people decide they're going to hang out in a bookstore, uh, says something. And I've always agreed with Jonathan that Miami is always underrated and thought of, as if nothing very serious happens. When we had the very first, I tell this story. We had the very first Miami book fair, and we would go after writers. Publishers would always say something like, "Well, we have this new prescription drug book out, and we can send that author down." And I go, "No, no, no. We want John Updike. We want Susan Sontag. We want somebody
Paul
like
Auster.
that." And I knew because they were reading, they were buying those books. And even on Miami Beach, when we were on the beach for 30 years, the sophistication of the audience that was buying books,
Mhm.
I think it was as sophisticated as anywhere else in the country. And so, Miami and Miami Beach, you can do as much here as you can do just about anywhere culturally. And I think the Betsy, I think, our events team, I think literary culture has become, because of the work of a lot of people on this Zoom and others, have has wormed its way into the psyche of American arts and letters. I mean, people think of Miami as a place to come. And when you look at the list, I mean, I've looked at the list of Jonathan's guests at the hotel. It's phenomenal. I mean, people at the beginning of their career, like Dwayne Betts, right? I think he was the first one, but he's now a giant, and you just it's just, it gives me shivers and makes me feel so wonderful. And I think of what Christina said about the people who are going to be in the audience at the B Bar, the young writers who will say 10 years from now that they were inspired by going to this event at the Betsy, and that'll be a thing. It's collaboration, particularly between a hotel that view it's so unusual because we've been approached by other, once a group, the big thing in all kinds of marketing now is to be a convening place, right? A third place. So you'll get these calls from these corporate entities, whether they're hotels or whatever, and they're like, we're opening a hotel on wherever it is, and we'd love you to have a place or do something. And but from the heart, having an indie hotel do it because they're mission driven, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's
just, I mean, this
extraordinary.
partnership is an extraordinary one.